Good morning. Happy Saturday. How's everybody doing today? I'm on Instagram and Facebook. So what's going on with everybody? We've had we had a week of rain, and today the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. I wanted to come step outside and just enjoy the beauty. So guys, this is gonna be a little bit tough, but I'm gonna get through it. I was trying to figure out what to talk about today, and a part of me didn't really want to talk about this subject, but the other part of me felt that it wouldn't be authentic if I didn't. So, let's chat. Sorry, I knew this was gonna happen too, and I even put on mascara knowing that it's probably gonna get all over my face, but I wanted to do my hair and look pretty in honor of my friend Tanya. I actually got this hair straightener from her, and so just using my shampoo, it's kind of funny, silly things, but the things that you don't realize people play a role in your everyday life as much as they do. So anyway, as you guys saw my post, lost a good friend yesterday. Whew. And I know that I'm not alone. I know that all of us, as humans, lose people close to us, even people that are not close to us, but acquaintances, and then people in between, right? And Tanya was kind of one of those people. She was somebody that we spent time with. We weren't part of each other's everyday life, but when we saw each other, it was, it was a friendship. And anyways, hi guys, hi Kirsten, hi Jackie, hi Jojo. And anyway, so I just again, it's not about me. I know we all go through these times in our life where we have to deal with loss. And, as a parent, I think as an adult, let's go back. As an adult, I think that, not that any of this makes sense, but I think especially if you have faith, we can grieve, and we can, we can get through these things. But what about our kids, and that kind of hit me last night. I'm very open with Audric, and explaining this part of life, because it is a part of life, is a little challenging. So I'm not sure if I'm the only one, only parent out there that finds this challenging, but I'm sure I have some people that can relate, and dang it, this is gonna, okay. It is what it is. So, even my eye cream can't help my emotions. But anyway, so anyway, I found an article that I wanted to share with you guys. And it gives you some good tips. And these are not, necessarily my opinions. This is just an article that I found, and I think it's helpful. Obviously, we all have our different belief system and, way of communicating with our kids, and just, what we believe in. But I thought this might be helpful for anybody who does struggle. Yeah, Jojo. Oh, yeah. I see Jay still asking about his grandma. I know. It's really tough. And especially loved ones, especially family members. I mean, Audric was pretty upset about Tanya, but, for Audric, and I don't know if a lot of kids, I'm sure, are like this, where they don't quite understand it, and then it'll kind of hit them one day. Audric will come up to me and just say, I miss so-and-so, whether it's a grandparent or somebody that he's lost before. But anyway, so back to this article. And excuse my okay. So what they say, and this is from Parents Magazine, so I think it's a pretty good source, is that they say that, to prepare now, to have conversations with your kids about death. It's not a fun topic. It's not something we want to necessarily talk about, but it's really important because the more they understand it before it happens, the better that they can maybe cope with it when it does happen. And so, this particular article says that, let's see, ways that you can tell, especially a littler one, this was what somebody told. I told her that it's no longer living. Oh, so what they're saying is start with okay, so this is good. Start with plants or, something of that nature. And so what this one mom did was a house plant that died. She used that opportunity to talk to her daughter about death. And she said, I told her it's no longer living and what that meant. It can't take up water anymore or grow with sunlight. And I made sure to add that it can't come back again. Because of the... Okay, so, death is something that young kids have the hardest time understanding. They don't understand. They're very factual. In fact, Audric will be like, well, where do they go? They have to go somewhere, and then in faith, it's well, they go to heaven. But again, that's kind of abstract. And honestly, they say in here, it can be a little scary because kids don't have that understanding of another dimension yet, So anyway, the first thing is prepare now. Use opportunities to talk to your kids about death, whether it's a house plant or maybe, a goldfish or something of that nature. And then the second thing, or, another thing along those lines is they're saying that, with a movie, it's a really great opportunity. Like, for example, Finding Nemo. It's just a good, we have to, as parents, look at those opportunities to teach our kids so that when it does affect them in a much deeper way, they're a little bit more prepared. So, hi Stephanie, hi Kelly. How's everybody doing today? We're talking about life here. So prepare now is number one. Number two is, it says, share sad news directly. It says, this is what this says. Again, this is not my opinion. If you have your method that works for you and your family, I'm not trying to say this is the right way. I'm just trying to share with those who maybe struggle in this area. But this particular article says, share sad news directly. It says try to avoid euphemisms like she's in a better place, because that can be scary or confusing for young children. So again, as us adults, although we may not understand why things happen the way they happen, we can understand that, especially in my friend Tanya's circumstance, that she's no longer suffering from that disease. And so, we can cope that way as adults, but kids, it's not the same. Let's see, what else do they say about sharing directly? It says instead talk to your child in a familiar spot. Don't do it when you're at the park, maybe a new park. Do it when you're in the comforts of your home, while your child is playing with a toy that they're very fond of, or holding a stuffed animal that they love, or a blanket, or something, that brings them comfort. Okay. Let's see. So what they're saying is what they did was, you could say something like, Grandpa died. When people die, their body stops working and they can't eat, walk, or play anymore. You won't be able to see them anymore. And if you have kids like Audric, he will ask questions like, why? Why can't I see that person anymore? So that's when it gets a little tougher. But, let's see. What does it say? Oh, and then it says, if your child responds by asking if the person's body can be fixed, they're saying that when a body stops working, unfortunately, it can never start again. So that they don't have that false hope that it could start working again. Sorry guys, this is a tough one, but I just felt that it was a conversation that I had with Audric last night, and I just felt the need to share it today. So bear with me. It's not one of my, hey Carlos. So anyways, let's see. So what else were we talking about? I'm live. Sorry. Just head on in. Let's see. So we talked about being direct. We talked about, let's see, finally it's not his fault. Okay, so this is interesting. I found this part interesting. It said, make sure your child knows that it's not their fault. It says, preschoolers tend to think that the world revolves around them, and so sometimes they might feel some misguided sense of blame. So that's an interesting thing that I probably wouldn't have thought about. I know sometimes when Audric gets this type of news, he gets angry because I think he doesn't understand. But I've never thought about him maybe thinking it might be his fault. So that was an interesting thing that it said on here. So I guess it's important to tell the kid that, it's not your fault. Hopefully it's not anybody's fault. If it is, it's a bad person. I don't know. But anyway, that's an important thing. Okay, and then it says that get through the first few days. So it says, after you've lost somebody you love, try to stick as close to your child's normal routine as possible. So it says, even if you need to get a friend to take your child to preschool or ballet class, that you keep your child at least doing these routine things. It said it may help ease some of the behavioral changes that are common in young kids, such as acting silly, hyper, regressing to old habits like thumb sucking, and those types of things. So again, it's just for us as adults and parents, coming down to their level and understanding that they don't understand what we understand, and that it may affect them, differently, and it may come out of the blue one day. I know when for this particular circumstance for Audric, I remember when Tanya was pregnant, and so Audric got really attached to her as his hairdresser, and when she got pregnant, and then went out on maternity leave and had the baby and everything, that was very difficult for Audric. He didn't understand why he can't go and see Tanya, and that was a happy event, and so I know that when he gets his haircut, he will be thinking about her for sure, and I think that would be a trigger. It's going to definitely bring up some questions and emotions, and in Audric's case, probably behaviors. So that's something that I, as a parent, have to be cognizant about and understanding about, so that when those things do happen, I'm not thrown off or caught off guard or just surprised. And so, with anybody that you've lost or your child has lost, it's important to think about those things. Where can they be triggered? How can they be triggered? And sometimes it just comes out of nowhere. We're all different, and even though they're kids, they have their own mind, and something might just come out of nowhere that reminds them of that person. And, and so that's something that we have to be aware of. And then, this is a big one, especially with Audric, and I'm sure a lot of parents can relate with younger children. Expect your child to keep asking you what happened or when they're coming back. And I know when one of my grandmas passed away, I know Audric still asks about her, and he'll randomly one day just say, I miss so-and-so, and it's like, okay, we'll talk about it. Everything that's healthy, it's okay to be sad about it. Sadness is really our human emotion. And, it's not something that, we don't feel sorry for that person, because especially if you're a believer, that, they're in a better place. But for us, it's sad because we miss them selfishly, Joey, everything starts with mom and dad. Absolutely. We have to be that role model, and we have to provide that emotional support for our kids, because if we want them to be able to handle difficult situations, as they get older, then we definitely have to instill that at a young age so that they can be prepared for these real life circumstances. And, it says you don't need to hide from your feelings. When I told Audric, and, from time to time, I'll be crying. And, I think that affects him more than anything. Sometimes, kids just, they don't understand it, and they don't want to see their parents upset. And so that's a tough one. But I think, for them to see that we do have an emotional state, and we do cry, and we do have emotions, is healthy for a child to see that their parents do that. So I think that's not something we need to go and hide. For me in our kind of, different situation or unique situation, sometimes I do have to be a little careful. I may have to, if I'm really, really sad, might have to hide a little bit, just because it can bring on, when Audric doesn't understand things, it can definitely bring on some behaviors that I just don't want to do to him. It's not his fault, and so as a parent, I have to think about how it affects my child. I'm not just gonna sit there and be selfishly crying, but at the same time, it's important to show them that you're sad, and that that this is life, and this is how we handle it appropriately. So anyway, this is the last thing, is handle the funeral. So it says, this is a big topic, or a big question that a lot of parents have. Should I bring my child to the funeral? And this particular author says that, or maybe she's a psychologist actually, she said that if your child expresses an interest in going, but prepare your child for what the funeral will be like. Maybe ask a friend or a sitter to join you. That way, if you do have a hard time, and the child is affected by your hard time, that maybe the sitter or the friend could take them to, take them on a walk, or maybe to a playground or something, wherever the place is, so that you can have your time. But as far as, not taking them, again, this is not my opinion. So if you feel very strongly about that you don't feel it's appropriate to take your child to a funeral, by all means, that's your prerogative. I am not in whatsoever saying that you should, but this is just what this particular therapist is saying, that if a child expressed interest in going, then it would be totally appropriate to take them. So, and then it says after the funeral, open up the door for conversation by saying something like, grandpa misses grandma if grandma passed away, and then saying, you could draw a picture, something of that nature. You can also leave a photo album of your loved one on the table so your child can look at it when he or she is ready. And just know that the healing process takes time. I mean, just like us adults, it takes time. So we can't expect our kids to just, heal immediately either. So anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful. This is a big part of life, and it's definitely not what we like to focus on, but at the same time, it is important to teach our kids how to deal with these types of things. These are things they don't learn in school, and it's our job as parents to to make sure that they're equipped for life to handle difficult situations. So I have actually a few more tips that I would love to share, but I'm also asking for your tips too. If you have any tips, or if you're seeking any more tips, if you're going through this kind of situation right now with your child, I would love to share the other tips that I found. But also, if you have a great tip yourself that I didn't mention, I would love to hear it too, because I think that we can all learn from each other, and I think it's really important that we share this part of life together. So message me. I'd love to share more, and I'd love to get your input as well and your tips. And death is just really a reality check that this can happen to any of us at any time, and it just shows you how short life is. So on a positive note, I encourage you to make every second count and to enjoy every second. Make it count. Love hard, like I said in my post. Love hard, forgive easily, and just live. All right, love you guys. Have a great day.